Hello everybody and welcome to this session. We're going to look at AutoCAD. This is an introduction to AutoCAD and I've got AutoCAD open right here, right now, and we're going to start drawing. So there's a section here which is start drawing and I'm going to click on that. So in this session I'm going to give you a brief overview of the tools. We're going to draw some simple shapes and then we're going to look at making some floor plans and elevations, and then exploring the model space, paper space, a few dimensions. We're going to export a title block as a PDF and then insert that into InDesign, all to scale 1:100. So let's get started. So this is AutoCAD and we have the ribbon at the top with different tabs: home, insert, annotate. We've got the start tab which we can click on and we can go back here and create new drawings, and we've got drawing number one, drawing one. This is the model space, and at the bottom we have tabs for our paper space. Layout 1, layout 2 are our default ones. We'll have a look at those a little bit later. And we've got our snaps down here and of course our command line. Okay, so we're going to use the line tool to draw some basic lines. We can use our middle mouse button to scroll in and out, to zoom in and out, and we can hold it down to pan. This is the origin point and we can start drawing from here. You can see that around the cursor we have a dynamic input, and right there I could put in the coordinates for my first point in this line. So I could put 0, 0 and return, and you can see that I'm now drawing a line from the origin point. Now also you can see on my screen that I have snaps turned on. I've got this dashed green line which is 0 degrees. It is the horizontal line going across, and my line is snapping to it. And I still have a dynamic input open, and this is where I can put in a measurement. So I'm going to put in 500. We are using metric units. I'm going to press return, and if I zoom out you can see that there is a line that is 500 millimeters long. I'm now going to create another line that is 500 millimeters, but I'm not going to press return. I'm going to instead press the tab key, and that's going to take me to the degree of rotation. I'm going to type in 45 and then press return. There is my angled line. I'm going to do the same thing down here: 500, tab, 45 and return, and then I'm going to draw one more straight line at 500 millimeters. Okay, so here is my lines, and I'm going to press escape, and yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now we are creating a simple mandala type shape, okay, so that we're going to be able to explore some of the different tools in AutoCAD. So first let's have a look at the selection tools. If I click and then drag across, I get this blue selection box, and this will select all of the items inside of that selection box. Now they must be completely encompassed by that selection box to be highlighted. You can see if I overlap that line, only 3 lines are being overlapped completely and they are being selected. We also have the green selection box if you draw from right to left, and you can see that this is an overlapping selection box. So if you need to select something and you just want to overlap elements, you can do that, and you can see that I'm selecting all the lines even though I am only overlapping halfway the final line there. These tools also work as a lasso, so if I click and drag like that I can get a custom shape. They work in the same way. I'm pressing escape to deselect, just like so. Okay, so now that I've got those lines selected, I'm going to copy them by using the copy tool just here, and I'm watching my command line, so it's saying specify a base point, so I'm going to click here, and then you can see I can make copies. I can make multiple copies. Okay, I don't want to make multiple copies, so I'm going to get rid of those, and specifically I want to add one just here and use my snaps so that it's just in alignment. Press escape, and now with these lines I'm going to select these, and I'm going to use the rotate tool, and I'm going to specify the base point of rotation, and I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, that's looking good. The next thing I'm going to do is select all of these lines and use the mirror tool. So I'm going to click here to specify a line of reflection, the mirror line, and click, and then press return to complete that command. Okay, so I've created these lines. I'm just going to move them above my origin, something like that. Okay, now that I've done this, I'm going to use the offset tool, and the offset tool is going to be set to 100, so you always set the offset before you start applying it. You click on lines, and that will create offset lines. I want to offset all of these lines at the same time, and to do that I'm going to need to press escape and then select all these lines and start to type in the command join and return, and that has joined all these lines together, and that means now when I offset at 100 millimeters I can offset them all at the same time, which is really good. The next tool we're going to use is the circle tool, and that's going to allow us to draw a circle. Now we can place sort of like guide markers. If we hold over certain points, it leaves a little green marker. Now I'm not clicking, it's just leaving those points just there to ensure that I draw this circle from the center. I'm going to type in 700 and I get a circle like so. I'm going to draw another circle in the middle, click and drag, and I'm going to type in 350. Okay, so I've got two circles there. The next tool I'm going to use is the 2-point circle, which is this one here from the drop down, and I've got my snaps turned on, so I'm snapping to quadrants, which really helps. So it's worth taking a look at your snap so you can get things just right. And I'm creating a circle just like that. Now I want to create an array of circles going around the center point here, so I'm going to use the array tool, but not just the rectangular array, because if I use the rectangular array and then select this circle and press enter, you can see I get a grid of circles. Now that's not what I want, so I'm going to press escape on that and press Ctrl Z to undo. I'm going to use the drop down and choose polar array. I'm going to select the circle again, press return, and then I want to specify the center point of the array. So let's see if we can find the center. There it is, and now we have an array. I'm going to increase the number of items to 7 and press return. You can see now I have 7 equally spaced circles. Okay, so creating an array is a really good idea. You could add lots of circles there, have something that looks a bit like a slinky. Now I'm going to press the tick to close the array, and now that array is still in effect. It's one whole thing which you can edit and transform, but if you want to make it so that it is just 7 simple circles, all you have to do is type the word explode. So here we go, explode, and enter, and now we have those individual circles that we can draw and fill and modify just like any of the other lines in our project. Okay, so now it's time to look at the hatch tool. So the hatch tool is here in the ribbon, and if we click on that we can see lots of different hatches that we can choose from. The one I want to draw your attention to is the solid hatch, and you can see if I hover over different areas with the solid hatch, this is what I get. Okay, so I'm putting in the solid hatch. There you go, and you can see that in model space the solid hatch is white on black. I'm using white lines, and we've got a dark background, and we've got the solid hatch is white. But if I go to my paper space, to the layout, you can see that that is actually represented by black. And this is a really useful hatch for us, because we might use this on walls in our floor plan to suggest a section cut or something like that. So please do explore the hatch tool and see what different hatches you could use in your project. Alright, let's go back to the model space and let's remove that hatch for the moment. One thing I would say about hatching is it's worth saving your projects separately without any hatches, and then if you experiment with hatches on a copy of your file, because hatches can use up a lot of memory, and we've had students that have had difficulty with some of their files because they've got too complicated too quickly, and hatches are a good way to do that. Right, so let's have a look at another tool. We have the Fillet tool just here, and the Fillet tool only works after you've specified a radius, and I'm going to specify a radius of 200 millimeters. Press enter, and now if I press multiple here in the command line, I can now apply fillets to the corners of these lines, which is really good. So we are filleting the corners and getting nice rounded lines going on there. We could also apply the fillet to the internal corners if we wanted to, and that's working really well. Okay, cool. Alright, so that is the mandala. This is a really good shape to work with. Oh, I missed one corner. There we go. Just so we can test out the different tools, the line tools, the mirror tool, the copy tool, the fillet tool, the offset tool, all of those. Okay, so moving on from there, it's time to bring in a plan. Okay, something that we can use as a reference. Okay, and to do that, we are going to choose insert from the ribbon, and we're going to insert a PDF. So I'm going to click PDF, but before I do, actually, I'm going to press escape, and I think maybe I will start a new drawing for this. So I'm going to insert the PDF, and I've got one here ready. We've been working on the Shelley Theatre in Boscombe, so I'm going to click on this PDF and click open. And for this particular PDF, there's raster information in here, so I'm making sure that that is turned on, raster images, and I'm going to click OK. So here we have our PDF. Okay, it's looking a bit crispy, but it's perfect for what we need it for. So we're going to be using this plan as a reference, and at the moment it will be a lot more useful for us if we can set the scale accurately. Okay, so if you've got a known measurement from an actual location, or if you can clearly establish the scale based on the plans that you have, you can see here 1 to 200, presumably this is a A2 or something like that, but that's a bit of guesswork. We can actually scale these drawings so that they become one-to-one, and that's going to be much more useful for us. So the model space in AutoCAD, all of your drawings in there should be one-to-one, and then you can adjust the scale on different layouts in different paper spaces, so that you could then print and share that information with other people. Okay, so this is going to become clearer as we use AutoCAD more. So for us, we have this scale information, so we can use this to help us rescale this plan. So to do that, we're going to go to the Home tab again, and we're going to use Scale. I'm going to make sure that this is selected, so our plans are selected, and I'm going to click on Scale, and it wants me to specify a base point, so I'm going to do that. And then instead of changing the size just by moving my cursor, I'm going to go down to the command line and choose reference. And now that I've done that, I can use something where I know the dimension, like this ruler here. Click and click just about there, and I can put in the information. So this ruler is 20 meters, so I'm going to type in 20,000 millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to press return, and now my plans are to scale. And if I want to check, I could do a distance measurement here, and I could check that is 20 meters. Yes, it is. Let's press escape. Now this plan is a little bit hard to see because my crosshair is hard to see, rather, because it's white on white. So I'm going to select the edge of this PDF plan, and I'm going to change the fade. I'm going to increase the fade to about 60%, so it's a lot easier to see and work on. Okay, so when we inserted this PDF, AutoCAD very kindly added a layer for the PDF. So I am now going to lock that layer. I could turn it off and on, which is good, but I'm going to be working in layer 0, and we're going to start to draw the plan of the theatre, and we're going to do that with the line tool. Okay, so I'm going to click just around this shape, just by going to the corner here, and my snaps are turned on, so it's snapping into place, and I can just draw around the edge very accurately as I go. Okay, so I'm going to click here. I can also go back and highlight points to ensure that they're parallel, which is really good too. So let's zoom in a bit and go all the way across here. I'm just going to grab this point there and make sure that I'm doing that at the same distance. Let's see if that'll work for me again. Maybe not. Okay, so let's go all the way around this shape. Let's go to there. So we're going to start to draw all the shapes that we need here. We're going to draw the walls, the outside edge, and then we're going to come back and draw lines where we're going to have windows and doors. Let's draw a line to there. Snap there. That's good. Slightly unusual angle just there. Nearly got back round to our beginning point. Not quite. That's a bit too deep. Okay, here we are. So let's just snap there, Lovely. Okay, so we press escape and you can see there we've got our outside edge, and then we can start drawing the inside edge. So I'm going to click just here, come across, snap into place. Now I shouldn't do that. What I should do is finish that line there, because I want to make sure that everything is straight. So I'm just going to snap that like so, and let's use a different tool. Let's use the extend tool. So I'm going to click on this line, press return, and then click on this line. You can see that that snaps together, and then we could use trim just to tidy up. So I press return and then I can trim that bit there. That looks great. Okay, now I want this line to line up with this line. Let's see if they do. It's not straight. So let's sort it out. So what I'm going to do is press escape, select this line and delete it, and I'm going to make this line a bit longer. So you can make lines longer by just clicking on them and then grabbing the handles there, and then I'm going to use that extend tool again. So I click the line that I want it to extend to, press return, and then highlight this line, and then I'm going to use trim and press enter, and I'm going to trim off that bit there, trim off that bit there. Okay, and that's looking good. Alright, so let's get the line tool again, and then we're just going to snap here, and let's go all the way to this point here, and all the way down to here. Okay, and let's go back up there. Nice. Let's press escape and let's draw some more lines. So we're going to use the trim tool just to make everything just right. So I'm going to click and snap that over there, and yeah, let's do this room down here. Maybe we'll do a rectangle, 2-point rectangle, and we'll click here and here. Okay, that's looking good. Alright, so now we need to draw some more lines. You know, we need the entrance to the stage, and so we're going to draw a line just there and just here, and we need these windows here as well. So I'm going to click and get the tool again, click and click. Okay, for this one we could create an array. So I'm just going to select just these two lines, and then we're going to create an array. Oh, not a polar array, a rectangular array. So let's select this line and this line and press return. Okay, so we don't want the rows, so I'm going to just click here, and then I'm going to just grab this arrow and bring that into position, something like that. And I'm happy with that. Press the tick, and then I can click on this and explode it. Excellent, so those lines are in place. Let's add a couple of lines over here. So one here, press escape, get the line tool again, grab this line and this line, press escape, and we need to add some extra lines just here. So we've got like a stud wall type thing going on. So I'm just going to snap that into place and put I think I'll put another line just here, and let's complete the shape up here, so there to there to there. Okay, and this bit here. Ooh. So let's get the line tool, click. And there's an opening just here. Okay, so now that we've done that, we could go to our layers and we could hide the background just by clicking the light bulb for a moment, and let's do a bit of trim. Press return to select all. Let's try that again. So press trim, press end, return, and here we go. So I'm going to get rid of this line here and this line here. These lines just here and this line here. The trim tool is very useful, both trim and extend, very useful. Okay, that's looking good. Brilliant. So you can see how easy it is to create those line drawings. Now we had a look at creating a door swing, so I'm going to press the light bulb here, and let's have a little look at this doorway here. So I'm going to draw some lines on the side. Press escape, grab that line tool again. Okay, and we're going to draw a doorway here. So let's get our rectangular tool, and let's start at the midpoint, and I'm going to start to draw the rectangle here, and I'm going to sort of round this down a little bit and do minus 970, and then I'm going to press comma, let's say minus 60. Okay, so I've got my door there. Let's get the rectangle tool again, and let's just draw a rectangle in for this side. Okay, so we've got the two rectangles there. Let's press escape and select the first one, and we're going to rotate this up. So I'm going to specify the point of rotation, and I'm going to rotate it like so, and then I'm going to select this one. So I'm going to choose the rotate tool again, specify this one, press return, specify the rotation point, just like so. Okay, so we've got our two doors, and then I want to put in the door swing. So I'm going to use a start, center, end arc. Okay, so we select this, and we need to remember that the arcs are drawn in a counterclockwise fashion. So let's have a look. Let's click the top corner of this rectangle, and then we'll specify the point of rotation, and then we will draw the arc. Okay, so we'll do the same thing here, but this time we're going to draw it from this point to this point, and then there's our door swings. Now this whole door swing might need to be moved downwards, so let's select those elements and then just use the move tool just to bring them down a little bit, something like that. Okay, so that's how we create the door swings, which is really good. Now I've got another file, so I'm going to go to start, and I'm going to open up this one, Okay, and I want to talk to you about the elevations, so you can see that I've got more plans in there. One of the things we used with the mandala was the array tool, and we've used it a couple of times. Now you can use it with groups as well. So with all these shapes that I've drawn based on the elevation, I've grouped them together using this tool here, group. And then I can use the array tool to add in that information. So at the moment there are 3 rows here which I don't want, so I could change that to 1 and press return, and you can see there we have, and now we have 4 of the groups, and I can use these arrows to change the position of them and get them just right for my elevation. Press close the array, and we could explode that if we wanted to just by typing in explode. So there we have our elevation. Okay, the next thing I want to look at is creating a title block. So you can see in here we have a title block, and we've got information in the title block about our project. So our unit of study is IAD 442, and the name of this project is Shelley Theatre, and the date today is the 14th of the 12th 2020. This is the currently the south elevation, and it is the existing south elevation, and it is at 1 to 100 at A3. So this is the information you need to have on your title blocks, and under there you've got my name, which is very important to you. You've got to have your name on there. Right, so we've got this elevation, but how did we get here? Because when you first look at your layout, it looks something like this. So the first things we need to do is to set up our page correctly. So you can see when you go into your paper space or your layouts, you can see the layout tab highlighted in blue at the top of the screen, and you can click on there, and then we can get to page setup. Now layout 1 is fine, layout 2 we need to sort out. So layout 2, now we normally work with A3 or A1, so we're going to create an A3 layout. So we're going to modify layout 2 and make it A3. Now the first thing that I want to do is set a printer/plotter, and I'm going to choose Adobe PDF. If you don't have Adobe PDF as a printer, you can choose Auto CAD PDF high quality print. Okay, that will be fine. If you want Adobe PDF as a printer, you're probably going to need to install Acrobat on your PC if you haven't done so already. Okay, so we're going to choose Adobe PDF, and in the paper size we're going to choose A3. So I'm just going to move up a little bit, A3, there we go. Now this paper must be 1:1, okay, not scaled in any way, so you can see it's 1:1. We're not going to change the plot style or any of these options. Landscape, that's right, and all we have to do is press OK. You can see that once we've done that, this page size has changed, and this viewport is not right for what we need, but we will leave that as is, because we're going to create a brand new title block. And to do that, I'm going to go back into the model space. So I'm going to click on the model space, and I'm going to go down here somewhere near the origin point maybe. Look, you can see there's the title block from the layout 1. So I'm going to create this again. This is exactly A3, so let's create another one. Now it's quite good that it's drawn on the origin point, which makes it easier to find, but there is a way around that, and I'm going to talk through that as well. So here we go, let's get some space, and let's draw a 2-point rectangle. So I'm going to click out just like so, and we're going to do 420 and comma minus 297, which is the size of an A3 piece of paper that looks something like that. Okay, now we do have to bear in mind printers and PDFs. So we're going to offset this rectangle, which is exactly A3. We're going to offset it to 8mm, which should give enough offset for our PDFs and for printing out and all that sort of stuff. So we've got this line around the edge that we will see. We won't see the outer line because it's the edge of the paper, but we should see this line when we print, and that's going to reassure us that everything is to scale and everything's correct. Nothing has been scaled to fit or anything like that. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to press escape, select this line and type in explode. Okay, so I'm going to explode this rectangle, and that's because I need to offset some lines. So I'm going to offset the lines from the bottom edge 6mm. So I'm going to offset here, here, and one more. Okay, so these are going to be for my lines of text, and I'm going to offset again, but this time I'm going to offset 100 from this edge. So I'm going to click here and offset. Brilliant. Okay, now that I've done this, I can use the trim command. Okay, so you can type in trim. I must press escape first though. Trim, here we go. And now I can trim all these lines away. Oh, I've got to make sure when I do trim that I press return. So I'm selecting all the lines in my document, which is often the way I do it because it makes things a lot easier. Okay, so we have a title block, but how do we use this in a one-to-one A3 page scenario? Well, what we need to do is select this and write it to its own file. Okay, so I'm going to type WB, and that gives me the command of wblock, and this, when I press enter, will allow me to write a block. So I'm going to first of all establish a base point, just like so, and now I'm going to change the name of this to block title, and the units are millimeters. That's good, and we're going to click OK. So we've saved that, and now we can go back to layout 2, and this is where we're going to put our title block. Okay, so we need to make sure that we have paper. Here is the word paper is here. That means that we're going to put the block in the right place. So we're going to go to insert. From this drop down menu, I'm going to choose recent blocks, and it's going to open up this window here, and I can see block title. There it is, and now I can place this on my page just like so. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Now at the moment we have this viewport, but it's not the right size or shape for this, and I could, I could make it bigger, and as long as I didn't have drawings overlapping here, it would be fine. But I think what I'm going to do is delete that, and I'm going to create a new viewport, and I'm going to do that by going back into my layout and choosing a polygonal viewport. So I'm going to click in the corners here, 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 and here, back up to the top, and enter. Alright, so there is my viewport. Okay, and if I want to change the scale in here, I need to press where it says paper, and in here I can zoom in and get my elevation in place, and then I can choose from the drop down a specific scale, like 1 to 100, and that is adjusted. That is 1 to 100. If I'm happy with the position of that, maybe move it just a little bit, I can then press this padlock to ensure that I don't move it by accident. Okay, so now that I've done that, I might go back into my model space, and I think I'm going to turn off these PDF layers. Go back into layout 2. That's a bit cleaner. That's looking nice. Alright, so what we can do now is put in some text information down here. So I'm going to go to this text tool just here. I'm going to make sure I'm back in the paper space, and I'm going to draw a text box just here, and we need to put in the unit title IAD 442, and this is Shelley Park, and the date is the 14/12/2020. There we go. I'm going to press return, and this is the south elevation, and this is existing, and the scale is 1:100. This is important at A3. Okay, and then the last thing is I'll put in my name. Okay, that's looking good. Now I'm going to click outside of there, and you can see this needs to be moved just a little bit. So let's select this and move that down just a little bit, something like that. I've got my snaps turned on. I might turn them off just to move the text just a little bit. Something like that. Okay, so if I want to change the line spacing here, I can select the text, and I'm going to type PR, which is properties, and in here is a whole text section, and I can change the line space distance to 6, and now that's a perfect fit because I know that the distance between the lines was 6 millimeters. Okay, so the title block is looking great. So let's press escape. There we go. We've got our title block with elevations, and we could add some dimensions here. So the dimensions tool is up here in the ribbon, and I can add some dimensions to my drawing as well. Now you want to add these dimensions in the paper space, and I'm going to make sure my snaps are turned back on. So I can add dimensions in, I can click, and I can drag them. Now if you need to modify or change your dimensions, you'll need to go into annotate and click on the drop down, and then manage the dimensions. Okay, in here you can see I've got a copy of ISO 25 where I have done some modifications. So you can change the arrows, you can change the text size, you can change the amount of decimal places. You want to make sure that that's readable, clear to understand if you're adding dimensions on. Also, the distance of the dimension from your drawing is really important. Make sure you don't have lines, dimension lines connecting, because it can be quite confusing for the actual drawing. Okay, so it's good to have a gap there. So if you need to change your dimensions, make them more readable, just use modify dimensions dialog right here. So I'm going to cancel that. So I'm able to add dimensions like so. Now we've got this file, which looks pretty good. I think it's time to print it to PDF. So to make a PDF, I'm going to go to File, AutoCAD menu. I'm just going to click on print. I'm not selecting any of these options. I'm just pressing print. Okay, and now I've got the printer is set, Adobe PDF. It's A3. The scale is 1:1. I'm not changing the plot style. I'm not changing any of these. I'm just going to click OK, and here we go. So this is I'm going to call this Shelly project 01 and press save. Okay, so this is created our PDF for us. So let's check in Acrobat. So here we are. It's been rotated. Let's quickly fix that. So inside of Acrobat we have organized pages, and we can very quickly rotate that and press close. Excellent. So the drawing is looking really good. We can see that the offset line from the edge of the paper, 8mm, is good. Text is clear. We can zoom in. Let me see, everything's looking really good with that vector information. There is our PDF. Looking good. So full screen, Ctrl L. Yep, everything's looking good. Let's press escape. Now the next thing you might want to do is include your scale drawings as part of your design reports or your presentation boards. Okay, so those will be put together in Adobe InDesign. So let's place this brand new PDF inside of InDesign. Let's take a look. So let's go to Adobe InDesign. Let's load this up. I'm going to open up the template, and then I'm going to place this scale drawing, and we're going to make sure that the scale is retained. So let's open up the template. Here we go. So we're inside the template. If I use Control minus, you can see I'm inside the template. Let's press Control 0, 0 in on the page, maybe zoom out one notch. Let's press Control D, which is file place, and we're going to use Shelly Project 1 and click open. Now you can see that it's still rotated, so I'm going to cancel that, go back to Acrobat just for one moment. I'm going to close it here, and it's going to ask me, do you want to save changes? Yes, I do. That will have saved the rotation. So now I'm going to close Acrobat, back in InDesign. Let's do Control D to file place, select the PDF. Now it's the right orientation, press open, and here we go. If you just click, it's going to give you 100% scale. Okay, and now we can just move this into position where we want it on the page, something like that. Looking really good. Alright, so it's not looking really good, it's looking really crunchy, and the reason for that is InDesign is trying to save memory and giving us a low resolution preview of our scale drawing here. So we're not worried, we know that it's high quality. We can check that by going to view, overprint preview, and everything is looking brilliant there, super sharp. Let's zoom in, double check. Yeah, everything's looking pristine. Excellent. Alright, so we've got that there. Let's hide the guides, and there it is, our PDF scale drawing 1:100 at A3 inside of InDesign, part of a design report, ready to be exported once again as a PDF, and then maybe submitted as part of your submission for your next unit. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we're going to be looking at AutoCAD a lot more in the next unit after Christmas, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye.